Oh gosh.
S- So okay, so this is gonna be kind of off the wall, but do you guys see any? Do you guys see the changes in our culture? Do you see them detrimental, or do you see it as part of an evolution?
Which
This is very
changes?
broad, but so we have the advent of social media, but we also have a very liberal stance on pornography and drugs and sexual work, and like I see a lot of liberal solutions seem to be legalize it all because there's no point in you know locking people up for these things.
Yeah,
I mean, do you
Yeah,
want
no,
to lock
I see
people up
that
for
too. I
pornography?
see it. No, not for pornography, but
it
why not
depends on
just
the type of pornography, but yeah.
not? Yeah,
Yes.
that's very true.
Yes.
That's very true. Okay. I just okay. The last time I'm pretty sure it was this widespread. I mean, minus current times was the Weimar Republic, and I think we're gonna see a return to that, where people are all of a sudden gonna all of a sudden elect another Hitler into power.
I mean, I think you need to be a little bit more specific because you listed like drugs, you
Yeah.
listed like pornography, you listed social
Well,
media.
all of those things fell into the line of it,
There's a there's a
but
few things that
minus
protect
the
you,
social
man.
media,
Like
minus the
Okay.
social media.
there's a few things
That's a
that
new.
protect you. One would be that our country is way too divided to really like group up behind one leader. And the other would be like we're a heavily armed society, and I think those two things would kind of protect us against that.
I I
Well,
mean,
what
I
if the citizens sided with our supposed Hitler, just like it happened in Hitler's
Yeah,
I
but
time?
I
why would our police?
The part
Why?
about Weimar that we're never going to see here is that there's like economic desperation that they were under is not like it's not feasible for like for the United States to get there at this point. I don't think, in my
I mean
Well,
opinion.
if we
we could
impose
in
all
a
these COVID, if we impose all these COVID restrictions, we're talking about, yeah,
well,
Well,
we
I
totally
mean,
get there.
even then, it's not. We've got such a more diverse and dynamic and and robust economy that I don't think that we could possibly end up with anything even remotely near the hyperinflation and the destitution that they were facing.
I
Like,
wasn't talking an exact mirror, but
no,
okay.
I
So do you
understand. But
think?
I think let me just take it one step further and then I'll get back to you. But like I think that the thing that you need in order to actually take the dive into real fascism like that is some kind of stimulus like that is the pressure of poverty.
Yeah,
Yeah, you're probably right there. I guess my main I didn't mean to bring. I guess my main thing was like this is the new normal to be just like what they would have considered in the olden days degenerate,
yeah.
and that's also considered progressive. Do you think it's really progressive, or do you think we are kind of moving backwards in a sense?
No.
what? Just the COVID stuff, or like the other stuff?
No, he's
No,
talking
no,
about the
I'm just talking
culture.
about like talking about culture.
Our,
Yeah,
our
I feel like we
culture,
have devolved
our
really.
culture is progressive. Like, look at the stuff that happens today, and then look at the stuff that happened 30 years ago. Like, look at the positions on drugs. You know, the
Well,
fact
but
that people can just,
he thinks that using drugs is bad and
Well, no,
pornography
I
is
use
bad.
drugs myself. I use drugs myself. In fact,
You were saying like it was degenerate.
But I I
well,
mean
yes, but okay. I'm gonna
we
go back
used
to
to
the
have
I
to
live in a
be,
society.
we used to get conscripted to go to fight in wars, and now like you don't have to do that if you don't want
Well,
to. It's a
Korea
choice.
still does that actually. They
We
have
Wait,
don't
mandatory
but
though.
service.
wait, are you talking about? So I just so we're clear for the conversation, are you talking about in the U.S. or just in the world? Because there are a
I'm
lot
just
of different
talking about
places in the
us, man. I don't
world.
care about anyone else.
Oh,
And,
okay.
Yeah,
and
Come
don't
on,
use
so
man.
Korea as an example.
yeah,
That
like
Yeah.
doesn't make sense.
you
Well,
are more
okay, but
free.
Korea does have mandatory service,
Well, yeah.
But
and I
you
think.
said for us, not for Korea. That's a huge difference.
Well, yeah, but she
The
brought up mandatory. Someone brought up mandatory service, so
the
I was saying, well,
No,
average
you.
Korea does have
American,
that. It's not that foreign of a. I mean, even though it
the
is, because it's Korea, but
the average American is more free today than they were like 30 years ago. Yes, you could bring up
well,
like
yeah,
examples of
but the average
individuals.
American.
Yeah, that's what we're looking at, like the average person.
I think to answer your question like really directly, I think like it's always been progressive, but there's always been reactionaries. Like, do I think that there's as many reactionaries now that are going to have as big of a problem with it? I don't think so. I don't think so. But like, it wasn't unprogressive then. It wasn't degenerate then. There was just people like reactionary elements that were like against change, you know. And so I think that there's a much less, much smaller element of reactionaries now. And you know what I mean? Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, I get you. So
Well,
you think it's a good you think it's all it's a good thing. We're
Yeah.
moving forward,
I think
Yeah,
it's progress.
and
I think we are progressing. I think we're not progressing fast enough, but I think we're progressing.
and I think it's also just for a little bit of perspective, like different places at different points in time have had different ideas of what it means to be degenerate or to be progressive, right? Like, I mean, 1950s America would have thought it's super degenerate to for two men to like make out and have butt sex, but like,
yeah, it's pretty degenerate.
if you go back in time to like the Greeks and like the Romans, like, yeah, butt sex, no big deal. You're expected to do that actually. So like
Well, I was talking about ancient history, but I
well, yeah, but
also
like
I
it
think a
just an
lot of that
example
is
of like
very. I think a lot of I think it's kind of misinterpreted.
I don't know. Have you looked at those Greek statues, my dude? Like, yeah, they appreciated
Some
the
of
male
you,
form, to say the
well,
least.
yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
You
they
you
were
think
also
straight people
giant
made those?
athletes.
Like spending hours
Uh,
carving a perfectly sculpted ass? Nah.
I mean, they were also at the peak of physical perfection and
I don't
everything.
know.
No,
So,
I
I
mean,
mean,
no, they weren't. They were human
yeah,
beings.
I
they
don't
they
think you can
they
call
they
them
they
gay
would they
just
would
for
routinely shit
appreciating
themselves
a
to
male
death.
ass.
Like, come on now.
I mean, they make their drawings flowery to look like, oh, the colors of their armor was one
I
thing,
wouldn't
but
say
when you
peak.
look at the actual historical armor sets, it's not even the same color at all. It's dull and whatever.
Yeah,
It's
we can't tell them their peak physical. Peak physical form is like what, like Cristiano Ronaldo or some like those soccer players and shit like that.
Maybe
Football players for
maybe
you
like
guys
some
that
of their
know.
gladiators or something. I don't know.
I mean, yeah, that's who I was referring to. I didn't know if that's who you're talking about. Just like
Oh yeah,
the
I mean like
fucking. I was memeing the Spartan warrior,
oh
basically.
gotcha. Well yeah, but Spartans were also incredibly gay. Um,
I also I have yet to see any real backing to that. I've heard that, but I haven't seen any real quotes about Spartan butt
I'll,
sex.
I'll put
well
you on
I
a
mean
conspiracy.
like okay like I've studied history, so like maybe my word
You got
doesn't
a
hold.
medieval
I do have a
masters or
medieval
whatever.
history degree. Um, no, Spartans had like a very distinct and well-known relationship between men and young boys, actually. So I don't know if we want to
Well, no,
necessarily hold them up
that's
as
just
like,
fucked up.
yeah, it
okay.
was.
Well,
So
okay, I guess I was even talking about farther back than that. Have you ever heard of
okay,
the Orlinda?
No,
It's this book written by like way back. I think it was before the Sumerians. And honestly, I'm at the point where I think there was some real advanced civilizations even
can
before what we call advanced civilizations.
can I can I ask? And I don't mean this as like an insulting thing. Are you like a neo-Nazi or something?
No.
Oh, okay, just because
Took
like
a
a
long
lot,
time to
a lot of the time when people ask, like, start talking about like cultural degeneracy, or they bring up something that I look up real quick, and it has a large section on Nazi Germany, like, it causes me to think maybe they're a neo-Nazi, and it's okay if you are. I
Well,
just
I
want
mean,
us to be
I
Like an
guess,
honest.
uncomfortable
I guess
pause,
I'm not a
man.
neo-Nazi just because I think they're wrong on a lot of fronts. I also think they're kind of right on a lot of fronts.
So are you like a fascist, neo-fascist?
No, because I don't think fascism will work in today. I'm more of a libertarian. But
wait,
I
what
think
do you
if
think the
everyone could
Nazis
live their
got
life,
right?
they really did it right with like, okay, so basically, if everyone existed as what their standard of
Amphetamine
people
use in the
were,
military. That's what they got. That's what.
No, I want to hear his
I mean,
answer.
okay, so if everyone existed to their standard without the actual enforcement, so I believe in freedoms. Obviously, I didn't have that. But if we had freedoms as that level of people, dude, we would
Wait,
be.
what do you mean that
We
level of people though?
oh, I mean, not just okay, not that level of people, but what they envision to be. I mean, they
I
envision
like
to be like
what do you mean? Like it's
what
okay,
I
you can
mean
say it.
is,
No judgment in this chat.
Yeah,
I, I
don't
really
worry
don't
about
know
me.
what you want me to say.
I mean, I
I
don't want
was
you to say anything. I just want you to like
don't
say your
don't
point.
worry about this guy who just said don't worry about me. No, I mean, I really don't know what you want me to say. I mean, like, I think
Okay, be honest. Like no one's here listening. This just us five. Is it five?
Well, I am
no,
streaming, but like
I'm pretty drunk. I'm having a hard time of actually getting my words out, but because you know that's how America be.
yeah.
Um,
And
I
Sid's here
think
too. I took a quick little nap, but now I'm back.
Welcome.
welcome back.
What's up, man?
We're talking about how I'm a neo-Nazi.
Well, no, I just
Oh,
want you to
yeah?
you said
No.
you think that that Nazi Germany did some things right, and I asked you what those were.
I think they had the right idea to as how okay, so they had a vision for people.
Uh-huh.
And that vision wasn't totally right. They ended up in excluding a group of people from their vision of their own utopia. But
Okay.
I think they were on sort of the right track. If all of your communist ideals and stuff, those would totally work if everybody was like a goddamn peak physical specimen and whatnot. I mean, if everyone was actually kind of on that own equal form, I could totally get down with communism.
So
You want a
are you
warrior
talking
society?
about them being right in the sense that eugenics was cool,
I don't think it was cool,
but like
and
it
also
was on the right track?
I don't support eugenics, but also, I mean, like we got some total. I totally don't support eugenics just because I don't think anybody necessarily should be able to choose who lives and who dies. But
What?
also, I think there is almost like a sort of logical sense to weeding out the weak. I don't mean to be harsh, but that's what Mother Nature does. Like, I don't think a certain race is better than others, but I think like weakness, like genetic weakness, like
Like what would you say is
ends up being
genetic
a total.
weakness?
God, oh my 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 god.
It's a total detriment to society. If you want your
Dude, you have the
communist
biggest
utopia,
shovel I've seen in
you-
a long time.
Is this the IQ?
dude, I don't
Wait,
really
wait.
care.
I
I don't
I
really care.
I want
If
to.
you ever joined Tiberius's chat, you would know I'm like a
Wait, is this the IQ?
Oh yeah, I
test?
never join over there.
Is this
yeah. No, don't worry about it.
but
Don't
like
don't join.
what are the
It's all good.
what weaknesses are you talking about?
I'm talking about like, uh, okay. So say someone's born a cripple.
Uh-huh.
I mean, like, I guess now in our age, maybe they can be a computer whiz. But then you move on to like, I don't know. Okay, you guys are. I'm totally sound like a Nazi here. You guys are totally not perceptive to any of this.
Well, I'm just
I
curious.
don't.
I'm
I
just
don't
curious to hear more about like what your position is and like what your philosophy
Okay.
is, right?
Okay, so I guess I don't really have a total philosophy on this. I don't feel full-heartedly on this.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, I actually kind of feel the. Oh my god, my fire is freaking out. I feel the opposite on most of this stuff. But I also feel like the only way I'm not a communist, but the only way you guys can get your communist utopia is pretty much if everyone was equal. And you guys are all against eugenics, but all you commies totally looking into it.
Well,
Because that's
What
the
do you
only
mean
way it'd work.
equal? What do you mean equal? Like
so well,
genetically?
wait. So
Not just genetically. I mean, mainly genetically.
so
But so say everyone's equal, basically in the communist utopia, but everyone isn't equally. Like
Can
you
I-
got fucking.
can I
these
ask
I'd
you?
just like
Can I ask
did
you
it
to
and
define?
revolt on this of, like,
Can I
why?
ask you to define what you think communism is?
It's like a stateless, fucking cashless society where supposedly everyone has the same worth.
How did the
They
neo
all-
Nazis
they-
get it? And none of the damn liberals understand what it means. How you answer me
Well,
that?
he's close. So there are 3 pillars for a communist society. One,
I don't really care how many pillars there are.
okay, well, but it's
I'm
kind of
I'm just
pertinent
kidding.
to whether or not
But I'm
you can
totally
achieve it, right?
anti-communist. Like anytime, okay, just before you explain it,
All right.
anytime anyone starts about communism, I just zone out.
Okay.
I'll try to answer. I'll try to listen.
That's
this
fine,
time,
but let's let
like,
everyone else know the 3 pillars.
So
Yep. I'll try to listen.
so you have worker control over the means of production. You can do this, by the way. We have companies like that today called worker co-ops, which is just a democratically run company. And then you decommodify certain aspects of your economy. So, like, you have Medicare for all, for example, would be a means of decommodification. And then the third one, so those first two, that's socialism. Then the third pillar, which makes it communism, is the dissolution of the state. So you still have a government, but you don't have a state. And that's communism. I'm not entirely sold on communism, but I think that the next step we should take is definitely market socialism. So
Yeah, I like market libertarian socialism.
yeah. And as a bonus, you don't have to bash the skull in of any baby who's born with a physical deformity.
Well, this is the whole thing I was getting at with the socialism thing was like, you want Medicare for all,
Yeah.
and like,
Yep.
the only way for that to be like an equal pay and equal benefit is if you had some sort of, I don't know, eugenics.
Well,
Why
it's
was
not
that?
an equal pay in. People who have more would give more.
Well, that's kind of like what we have right now, isn't it?
Yeah, except that instead of having
Edward.
competing companies, we just have one because the government is better able to negotiate those prices and stuff.
So you really like want to put all that in the hands of the government?
Well, I mean, the government already has their hands in like our entire military industrial complex, and like we trust them for war. We trust them for that. We trust them for like a lot of other basic things too, right? So like, yeah,
Why not just give it all to them?
Well, because like the issue is I'm in favor of decommodifying certain aspects while leaving market systems intact in other aspects. So like, you know, if you work at the Pop-Tart factory or whatever, you're making your Pop-Tarts, that would still be like a luxury good, for example. And so like you would collectively own the Pop-Tart factory with your other workers. And then those Pop-Tarts would get sold to people who like want something other than like basic bread subsistence things to eat, and that would be part of your incentive to go work in the wider economy to get those luxury goods and better your quality of life. But you wouldn't have to work in order to live, you know? The kind of the system we have right now is either you work or you die, and that seems pretty shitty to me.